I've got so much to be thankful for.
Highly Relatable is a podcast about sobriety, healing, travel, reinvention, relationships, and the messy middle of becoming who you really are. Hosted by Brittany Vermeer, this show is honest, funny, unfiltered, and rooted in real life. Some episodes are solo story times and reflections, while others feature guests sharing relatable conversations about growth, identity, change, and what it actually looks like to rebuild your life. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, in between, or ready for more, this is your place.
All right, so I have teased this. I've talked about her every single episode thus far. And before you meet my guest today, I need you to know something. There are people in your life that will celebrate you with every single win. And then there are people who believe in you before you even believe in yourself. My sister Janelle is that person. Janelle has celebrated every win with me. She's celebrated every crazy idea and has supported me. She has answered every emotional phone call, and she's reminded me who I am sometimes when I've forgotten. And she has loved every version of me, good, bad, or indifferent. And Highly Relatable exists today because of her, because of the support, because of being my biggest cheerleader, and honestly, the true love of my life, my little sister, Janelle. So, Janelle!
Yay!
She is here, and I am so excited to have you. Are you nervous?
No. Well, a little bit. I don't know. I was going to make a joke, and then I was like, oh, it's probably not the best time to do that because...
What's your joke?
Well, I just think it's like, not even a joke, but I just think it's funny how like growing up when I was in high school and college, like I was the one at the Blind Pig, I was the one at the One, I was the one, you know, playing my guitar and being out there and doing music, and you were just kind of supporting me. And now I think it's like full circle or 180, whatever you want to say, is like, now it's you doing all of it. So I just think it's really cool to like see that.
I guess I didn't really think about that. We have always supported each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, when you were younger, you were very much involved in a social scene of, you know, music, and you're still a very talented musician. But you've also always supported me, you know, in anything I've ever done, and especially growing up. I feel like you also maybe looked up to me a little bit.
Yeah, and like, I think it's funny how people go through life, because with me and you, we're 5 years apart, and so when we were little, we maybe didn't get along, just like the little banter of like little sisters.
Sibling rivalry.
And then we got to a point where it was like, oh my God, you're so annoying and I hate you and like leave me alone and whatever. Like I remember there were times in high school or college that you were like, Janelle, you shouldn't do that. Like, that's stupid. You're going to get in trouble. And I'm like, stop being my mom. Like, be my friend, be my sister. Mm-hmm. And then like once we got into college and like really found kind of our groove of what we liked going out. We liked music. We would hang out with our friends together, and you'd always invite me places. And then like we really got close. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like there's always transitions in that. But like 100%, like growing up, I feel like I looked up to you in multiple different ways that I didn't even know until like now we're sitting here and I'm thinking back to it. Mm-hmm. You know, like you going to Carbondale for college and then moving to Florida for a short stint of time, and you were like gonna do big things, and you know, you always had that kind of go-getter personality, mm-hmm. That assertiveness, and that like, here I am, I'm Brittany and I have no fear, and mm-hmm. So yeah, I always looked up to you in that sense.
And you talked about, you know, being like, Brittany, don't be my mom. And sometimes I still feel like, just as your older sister, I'm always gonna be protective and give you advice, and, you know, always looking out for your best interest. Yeah. But then I also remember growing up and you wanting to tag along with me and my friends, and being
and I was
like,
so annoying.
Oh my gosh, Janelle, like,
I was
leave
so
me and
annoying
Susie alone.
to you.
Like,
I know.
When you know, we got AOL discs and you had to put them in the computer, and Susie and I would be in there like trying to like, you know, email people, and you would always come in and be annoying, and what are you guys doing? You know?
I don't remember that, but I'm sure I did it.
You were little, yeah. But I mean, we're jumping ahead because I had some of this in note cards, you know, about when did we become best friends. And I think when you went away to college, I think is when I think we really started to get closer.
Yeah.
There was, our sibling relationship. And when I went away to college for a year and came back, I think you were graduating high school and starting college. And when you went to Macomb, I used to come visit you. We used to party together.
Yeah.
Wheeler Block Party.
I was just going to say Wheeler Block Party.
All the shenanigans.
And I think they shut that down one of the last few years was when you were there with me, and they had the cops, the McDonough District cops or whatever,
Didn't
county.
Didn't come out like macing people?
Pushing us off the street and all of that. Like, I remember,
I think we were back at your house at that point. But, and then coming to visit you, I remember Colin and I came one time and we had brought a bottle of
Rumpelmans.
And that's 100 proof alcohol. And you and your friends didn't know, and we're cool.
You kept them in the freezer and it was cold and we thought it was mouthwash. And we were like,
Next thing you know, you and your friends are all drunk and we're like, well, are we going to the bars? Like, what's happening?
Yep.
And we just really started hanging out a lot. And I remember when you took the job with the International Sports Training Camp. And that's when I kind of knew that you were growing up, you were about to forge your own path, and that I was losing my best friend.
Yeah, and that is, again, kind of like what I always thought of you would be like you were going to be the one to move away. Like you did the Florida thing.
Let's preface it.
Okay, yeah.
I went to Florida for 3 weeks. I was going to move down there. I lived with my best friend, Heather.
It felt like forever.
It did feel like forever. Florida is expensive as hell. I blew through my savings in that 3 weeks. I came home because we were going on a family vacation to Mexico. We went to Mexico, came back to Quincy before we left with every intention to go back to Florida, and then realized that's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I did move away.
You
for a minute.
You had these big dreams and stuff, right? And I was like homebody. I was very family oriented, and I still am. But like, I love my family and I love doing things with them. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna find a job here, and I'll be an athletic trainer for Q&D and take over Jay Zinger's job, and like that was my goal. And then, so my senior year at Western in the athletic training program, you have to do an internship, and very long, boring story about how I got there, but I ended up getting to ISTC, International Sports Training Camp in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And I loved it. I had such an amazing time as a student athletic trainer. And then I went back 2 years later in 2015 as a certified, and I loved it. I loved Pennsylvania. I loved the East Coast. I met somebody. We were together for almost a year and transitioning into...
Oh, but I was even talking about you met somebody that introduced you to FDU.
Okay, sure, that too. But I found comfort out there is kind of where I was going, is like, I found friends out there. I found someone at the time, and I was like, oh, okay, I could kind of do this. And while I was there, Marcia Grant Ford, who is a clinical coordinator at Montclair State University, which is in New Jersey, she was an athletic trainer at the camp too. And so she's like, Janelle, you're doing really good things here. I love how you do things. And, I think I have a job opportunity for you. You have to go and interview, but it's at Fairleigh Dickinson University. It's a small Division I school in Teaneck, New Jersey, and you'd be an assistant athletic trainer there. You're going to have to interview, but I know the head athletic trainer, and I think, you'd be really good. So I went on this interview not thinking anything of it, still at ISTC working over the summer, and I go and interview. And like 2 weeks later, they're like, Janelle, we really like you. We would love for, you to take the spot.
So you came home from the International Sports Training Camp summer, and you filled Mom and Dad and I in on your acceptance of this offer in a job out in New Jersey. And I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I was so excited, but I was just like, holy shit, she's leaving. And then I thought, okay, we'll give it 5 years. She's out, in New Jersey. Maybe she'll come home.
And that was the plan.
And then she met the love of her life, Erica, my amazing sister-in-law. And Erica's from New Jersey. And you've been out there for over 10 years now. And you have 2 beautiful babies.
These are my girls.
These are my nieces that I also talk about who have changed my life. But that's, how you ended up out there, and when our relationship, I think, also became more, we're both adults and we're both still best friends.
Yeah.
But let's rewind a little bit though. Let's go back to when we were kids.
Okay.
So, you know, we weren't always close, like we had mentioned, you know, the sibling rivalry, I was the babysitter, I was the boss.
Yep.
You know, we always kind of got at each other. And so, you know, growing up, what was your like earliest memory of me as like your sister, like your big sister?
In a good way or a bad way?
I guess both.
Well, like the bad way was like that. Like I remember in the summers you would have to babysit me, and it was, you know, us hanging out in the living room, but like you being like, Janelle, get off the couch, or Janelle, don't do this, or you can't go with your friends, you know, like, so that was one of kind of the core memories of like, oh, Brittany, leave me alone. But then too, like fast forwarding, still as kids, but, you know, I was a huge soccer player growing up in grade school, and you were at like all of my tournaments, and I remember like...
Time out, you just said tournaments. She's lived in New Jersey for 12 years. It's tournaments.
It's my Jersey accent coming out. I've developed some words.
Yes, you played in soccer tournaments.
Okay.
Now that you've moved out there, it's tournaments.
So,
anyways, okay, go ahead.
I just remember you at every, you know, traveling soccer thing that we did, and you would still in grade school, high school, I mean, 7th, 8th grade, I think for you, because I was so much younger. But, so yeah, I mean, then I remember that as like, you know, our sisterly moments in the hotel rooms and things like that. So, I mean, those are like my first memories of like, okay, me and Brittany are sisters, and this is the life that we're living together.
And so Janelle's been a huge part of my sobriety journey. And she, like I mentioned, has been there to support me through every high and every low, and has pushed me. And, you know, what was the first thing that you noticed when I decided that I was gonna quit drinking, like about me? What did you first notice?
So like if we want to go back to kind of the night that you had decided, and I know that you said, you know, you've just talked in your past podcasts about just it wasn't a good night for you, and it was your friend's birthday, and things had happened, and you know, the next day I want to say was like the lowest day for you, because you know, we're drunk, we're emotional, we're end of the world, whatever. Then you pass out, you go to sleep, and you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh shit, what did I do? Or, oh my God, now I have to deal with this. And I remember you calling, I was in New Jersey. I remember you calling, and you just like defeated, and you were just like, I am done. And like, what did I do? And I can't do this anymore. And I love you, but like, we've had those conversations in the past.
And so the next question was, did you actually think that I would quit in that moment?
We've had that before. You know, I remember multiple phone calls where you would be like, oh, like Colin and I got into an argument, or, oh, I was drunk and I made a stupid decision with one of my friends, or, you know, I can't remember where I did, you know, what's wrong? Like, I'm done. I need to stop, you know? And I'm like, all right, Britt, well, then stop, you know? But I don't think you had, I don't want to say spiraled, but I don't think you had spiraled down far enough for that last straw moment. And I know you and Amethyst kind of talked about that too. Like, was there that intervention, or was there that, no, you did this completely on your own? But when I got that phone call and you were like, I cannot do this anymore, there was just something in your voice. There was something that was more like determined,
but also
and you were like,
very broken.
Oh yeah, and scared and defeated and drained.
I think all those conversations before, I was like, okay, well, I don't ever want to do this again. Meaning, like, I don't want to behave like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still gonna drink. I'm still gonna go out. I'm still gonna, but I'm not gonna behave like that anymore. And I'd done that time and time again. And I think I remember calling you and just, I was in tears. I remember bawling, and I remember you just being like, are you okay? Like, you're not gonna do anything to yourself, right? Like, you're okay. And I remember just, it was a very different feeling that day. And so, you know, having that conversation with you, like, did you think that this was gonna stick, or what were your thoughts?
I think that, first off, now that you're not drinking, we talk every single day, and we talk so much more. And I feel like there was a difference of the Brittany's. So that day you stopped or you said, I'm done, the next day you called me. And you're like, okay, like one day, like I'm drinking my sodas, I feel rehydrated, like I'm just getting my life back, I gotta figure some things out, like whatever. And then the next day you called me. And it wasn't like every day you were like 2 days in, 3 days in, it was just like you were more present. And it was, I don't know if I grounded you or you just needed familiarity or, you know, so you just called. And so I was like, okay, like good for you, Britt, like keep going, you know. It wasn't that I didn't believe in you, and it wasn't that I fully believed in you and I was like, yeah, girl, like you're gonna do it. It was just like slowly supporting, or what's the saying I'm looking for, like something optimistic, like cautiously optimistic of like, all right, Britt, like you're gonna do it, let's see how it goes. And here we are over 500 days later. And
500, and is it two? When was my 500? We just talked about
yeah, it was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And that's the point too of like, it's awesome, but I don't want you to feel like you have to keep track. Like that's not, I mean, of course it's important, but that's not it.
Milestones that are important to me. Each day is another day.
Right.
It's not, I'm not sitting there with a calendar checking off every single day.
Right.
It's like I have an app on my phone and it will send me emails on like important, like 500, like, hey, did you remember? Did you know? And then it's like, holy crap. You know, I mean, I feel like that's a big day.
Yeah.
So, you know, I definitely keep track, but not regularly. So yeah, when I had hit 500, that was, you know, something to celebrate.
And I didn't even know it was 500. Like I remember the March 8th. Yeah. And you flew in and you were in Jersey and you talked about that as well on another podcast. Sorry if this is like really redundant stuff we're talking about, but like that's a big day for you, right? And next March is going to be another big day. But yeah, like 500 is a big number. So like that's awesome and something that, yes, you should feel proud about, and I'm proud of you for it.
And going back to March 8th, so that morning I woke up, Colin and I had gone to the Zach Bryan concert in St. Louis, and then he dropped me off at the airport and I flew out to New Jersey. And you knew that I'd been blogging, and I was only really sharing my blog with my sister, with my mom.
Right.
I hadn't, you know, told anybody, go to highlyrelatable.com. Like that's my website, my blog. I now upload all my podcast episodes there, all of my different stories. But I had written my 365 days since my last drink blog post, and you had read it. And you were like, it's time to share this.
Well, and can I tell a story about that day is it was so frantic and you were in the plane and we had to do dinner or something. And like, it got to be that night and you were like, oh my God, I completely, I wanted to post it and now it's not even worth it. And you were kind of like feeling bad. And I was like, Brittany, just, it's the end of the day. So post it. You know,
but also like I was scared. Like I didn't want to put it out there. Like I hadn't shared anything on social media. And you were like, just do it.
Yeah.
And then I did it. And 2 seconds later, the comment section was like blowing up. And you were like, see?
Yep.
You needed to do it. What has surprised you the most about me, like during this change since I quit drinking?
Your involvement in the family, your presentness, you're willing to now go like above and beyond. I think that, yeah, you were in a dark place. And, you know, the only time that me and you would talk, and I was talking to Erica about this last night about like, okay, what are we gonna, you know, talk about, you know, I never, for the first maybe, I don't want to say first 10 years of me being out there, but we didn't talk a lot. We really didn't. It was a text here or there, or like, you know, but we
Colin
could go.
And I would come out to visit maybe once or twice
but we could go months without talking. And then like we'd get a drunken phone call at midnight and me and you would like talk for an hour. But just your presentness now of like family involvement, talking to the girls all the time, going to family gatherings. It's not always like, no, because me and Colin are going to go out and eat, or no, I'm meeting Megan to do this. It's, well, what's Janelle doing? Or, oh, let me go, you know, do you guys want to go out to eat? And like, so that has changed a lot. Your willingness to do things with us and wanting to help and wanting to be involved. And, I'm kind of repeating myself, but it's just that inclusivity that now I feel like you are more present of what's important and not just activities that you're doing.
Because they involve going out to get a drink.
Yeah. And when Erica and I would come home, do you guys want to go to the brewery and then go to the Abbey? And then do you want to go over to Nate's house? And I'm like, I love to go out just as much as the next person. But like, no, I don't want to. Like, I'm home. I'd love to go over to my cousin's house and hang out and barbecue. Do you want to do that? And it was like, no. And now Brittany is, yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Pick me up, or, So I think that's cool.
Did you worry about my drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt your feelings.
It's okay.
I was talking to Eric about this too last night, is like, it got to a point where I would get phone calls at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And every time I'd go to sleep, I'd hear bzz, 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 and I'd look, and it's Brittany. And I knew the phone call was an emotional, drunken phone call about a fight, or you hurt yourself, or you lost your purse. Like, I remember that one. You were sitting on a curb and you couldn't find your purse and you're freaking out and your life is, and I'm like, Brittany, so it wasn't that I worried like you're gonna hurt yourself or any of that, but it was like, Britt, like, what are we doing? You are a mess when you drink. And then you've said too how, you could be a mean drunk sometimes. And it was, are you talking about me? Or, oh, okay, like, da-da-da-da. And it would go from like one happy to like, now here comes an argument, or now, okay, it's not fun anymore. We need to go home. And I think that's kind of when I was like, Britt.
And to not get too much into, family history and past, but, we do have, some substance abuse, addictiveness, but also sometimes those things were said and used to mask actual behavior. And I think that I've tried really hard to, I didn't just give up drinking. I'm working on myself. I am really trying to be a better person. And so, we grew up in that environment, but also we're very different drinkers. I was balls to the wall until I could get blacked out. And then my personality changed. I would either be on an extreme high or an extreme low or an anger, where you have always been a constant. You can drink, you can throw down your garage beers.
I can throw down.
But you are always happy or funny or lovey, or, you're not sloppy. You're not, sometimes I'm like, all right, Janelle, let's wrap it up. Good story, sis. Like, I know you love me.
Your bandwidth has reached a certain, especially now.
Yeah. But, we were both very different, and, not that I've ever worried about you, but, we were just two very different drinkers. And coming from, a background of a family, it's like, I think we both took stock in our drinking when I stopped.
100%.
And really made a choice. And I think like it's reflective of you, because, now when I come out, and I'll spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month out in New Jersey with you and help take care of the girls. And, you'll have a couple beers, but it's not like we used to, because I'm not the one that's like, let's keep going.
Well, and I have multiple things in my head from what you've just said, but like, yes, 100%. And I almost feel bad, which I know you don't ever, oh no, like, you want a beer, have a beer. I'll have an NA with you. But it's like, I almost feel bad doing it now. And that's why I feel like I've become more mindful. Don't get me wrong, like, we had a family party this weekend, and yes, I had maybe a bit too many, but like, I don't need to go out and have 6 beers while we're eating dinner and then stay an extra hour and a half so I can have those 6 beers. Like, no, okay, I'll have 1 or 2 and then we can go home, because I'm more mindful of you, which I think is a good thing for me as well.
But also, I mean, being around it has never been an issue. It's just when I'm around it and I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I just am ready to go back to my comfort space. And, you know, you guys have always been like, all right, let's head home, or let's, you know, or I'll be like, I'm gonna head home, you guys take a lift.
Yeah.
Side note, my sister-in-law is a heavy metal fan of sorts. And so we always like to go to the Hobbrick anniversary, the Jared and the Gent show. And so we went to that 2 Saturdays ago, whatever. And there was also this, I don't even know, what are the bands? Pantera and System of a Down. They were like cover bands.
Was it like Jam Fest? Is that what they called it? It was down at Sessions.
Was it Metal Fest?
Metal Fest at Sessions.
Anyways, Sessions. I don't even know that bar, but whatever.
We found it.
We found it, and it was everything you can imagine of a Pantera, System of a Down cover group thing. And so we had gone to the dock, and then we ended the night there, and the last cover band hadn't even come on yet. And I was...
You were done.
Well past my bandwidth capacity, and you guys were having fun, and I said, get home safe. I love you. I'm headed out.
Yep.
And, you know, that's always fine. Like, it's never been an issue being around it so much.
Do you ever feel like... Is there ever a part of you that we sit down to dinner and everyone has a wine or everyone has a beer? Do you ever look and be like, I really wish I could just take a drink of that wine?
No, because I drink non-alcoholic options.
Yeah.
And I think after I got to a certain point past, like, the shakes of, like, you know, not drinking, or the anxiety of, like, what am I going to do in this space? I've been able to just be comfortable in my own skin, in my own space, and not having to drink. At first it was hard. It's like, God, I just want one because everybody else is having one.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can talk about, we joked around a little bit today. I was very not anxious about this podcast. This one I feel like kind of the least prepared, just because, you know, we chatted about it, but also I have a lot going on in my life right now, and a lot of things are happening and a lot of moving parts, and I've just felt very overwhelmed and anxious. You know, we're moving into a new house. We're leaving on a Disney cruise on Saturday, you know, and I was joking with Janelle this morning. It's like, oh, it was only 10 o'clock. I was over at the house and Mom had a bottle of wine on the counter. It was a screw off cap. So I left the cap screwed on, and I was like, have you seen those TikTok videos where they're like,
it's the Full House
stuff's going bad in your life, and then you're like, oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
Like,
oh,
and then like I pulled a knife out, and I was like, oh, just kidding. You know,
yeah.
It's like that. I was very overwhelmed, but I haven't felt like I need to reach for a drink to ever get me through anything. And I think you brought your own little note card that I made, and I think one of the questions on there. Did you have a question for me?
Well, that was it, but
like just ask it, and we can.
Well, which one? Because I have 3.
The second one.
Okay. Well, how do you deal with things now? Like, you have said previous Brittany, you lost your Amazon job, you got a notification at 7 a.m.
It was at 4:30.
And you know, old Brittany would have grabbed a vodka cranberry and been drunk by 10.
Yep.
Like, so how do you deal with things now? And I know, you're going through a lot right now. The house, unfortunately, Dexter's going through some stuff. And so, you know, baby dog and...
but yeah.
Yeah, so like, what are you doing?
So, and I've talked about it before, but I'm able to sit with my emotions, and as upset or as frustrated as I am in that moment, like this morning, you know, I was very overwhelmed, very stressed with a lot of things. And it's like, I just remind myself that this feeling is right now and it's temporary. And as I moved on through the day, that feeling is gone. Like, I was frustrated, I was upset, I was anxious. I sat there with it, I let it out, I talked about it with you, I talk about my feelings with Colin, and I get them out. Had I still been drinking, I would have drank that anxiety away for the time being. And
just makes it worse later.
The end of the night, passed out, and the next day, that anxiety was still there. That feeling was still there, and it was just a vicious cycle. And so now I do online therapy still, And so, you know, when I have things, you know, I make note and I'm like, we're going to discuss this and talk about how I dealt with it. But talking through my feelings, processing them, feeling them, is kind of how I've gotten past not needing the drink anymore. Yeah. And, you know, it's different for everybody, but there is hope, and you can work through your emotions without alcohol. And that's, you know, something that I've talked about in every episode. Sobriety looks different for everyone, whether it's a meeting, whether it's family. If you don't have family, I can be that family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a really good example of
just dealing without.
Yeah, and when I got laid off, like, were you worried about my mental health?
And it wasn't like, did I think you were going to go back to drinking? It was just like, I felt bad. Mm-hmm. You were doing so well. You are, you know, and I was like, oh gosh, like.
I think so that happened in October. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. I mean, I was 7.5, 8 months into my sobriety. I hadn't hit a year. Yeah. And me and 30,000 other folks over the course of 3 months were, you know, told that our jobs were not of value anymore. And I saw that as, this sucks.
I'm not of value anymore. Like, did you feel that? Like,
I realized that I worked for the largest corporation, you know, retail company. And I realized I was just a number. And that's why I've been working so hard to build this highly relatable, like I said in my last one, like, this isn't just a side project for me anymore. This isn't a hobby. This is something that I feel fulfilled by. Yeah. And I don't ever want to be a number in somebody else's universe. I want to build a space where people can be a part of it and be with me and know that nobody's ever alone. And so that's why I've been working really hard to, you know, highly relatable travel, planning trips for people that, I mean, I just feel joy when I get that booking and know that they have something to look forward to. But really building a safe space with highly relatable, and, you know, making that my next chapter. And Amazon was the end of it in one capacity, and what I've built since then has brought me so much more joy.
Yeah, you're doing it.
What makes you proud of me?
I think it's just your presentness. And I know that's like a cop-out because I had already answered that, but like, I'm just proud of you for... You're still Brittany. You're still the same Brittany. You're still my sister. Your attitudes, your jokes, your mannerisms, our conversations. You know, you're still you. But I'm just proud of the happiness that you now have and the happiness that you bring now to an environment. Mm-hmm. Being around you is not like... Not that you were, but not a black cloud of what Brittany am I getting today? Mm-hmm. You know, how is she feeling? Because if she's in a bad mood, we're all going to feel it. You know, I'm proud of you to be able to center yourself and ground yourself and work through things.
And let them
do what they're going to do. And I can only control me. And, you know, you've dove in 110%. It's not like you're flirting with it or trying it out. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And that's what you're doing. Yeah. So I'm very proud of you for that, and just being your authentic self and trying to figure it out as you go, but knowing that you are not going back to what it was. Mm-hmm. So I think that's awesome.
What do you see happening for me next?
I really want, like, you know, I'll be your manager, producer, whatever here for a second. Like, subscribe, follow, share. Like, everyone needs to get on this gravy train in Quincy, Illinois. I know all of you know this name. Like, get her out there. I don't want you to become like some famous, like,
Mel Robbins.
Checked. Yeah, but I want this to be successful, and I want this to be a conversation at a table that people are like, oh yeah, I used highly relatable travel for my business, or, you know, for my next adventure, or, oh my God, did you read Brittany's latest blog on, or did you see her podcast? Or, you know, I see this being successful, but I also like want it for you as well.
Mm-hmm. Janelle will post every episode, and she will say, like, subscribe, follow, and everything. And she will grab my family's phone and be like, hold please, are you following? And so shameless plug here, but if you go to highlyrelatable.com, at the bottom, there is subscribe. And if you subscribe, you will get an email every time I post a blog. So you don't ever miss any of them. I post every podcast episode there. So you will also get notifications so you don't miss any of the podcasts. At BritJo85, BRITJO 85 is my YouTube. And I have also created a page where I have Highly Relatable Podcast, every episode there. So yes, I want to eventually become successful in a way that I'm changing people's lives.
And that's what I was just going to say.
The travel part of it is something that brings me pure joy. I love to travel. It's always been something I've done sober, drunk, young, old. Travel has always been a part of my life and always will be. But what I'm building here is what I want to see grow. I want to help people every single day. I want to make somebody feel less alone. And I did just share a post, and I meant to bring it. Lori, I love you. I'm so sorry. My dear, dear friend Lori actually gave me a plaque. She didn't even know it was my 500 days. And it talks about you've got one day more than somebody else who wants one day. And you're inspiring people. And I felt so seen in that plaque she gave me, and she had no idea that it was my 500 day that day. And
it was Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. So what is today? Friday. So yeah. So what are we at? 5:03. But anyways, Lori just, it touched me so much. And Lori's, not somebody who's sober. I don't even really think Lori drinks that much at all, ever. But it was an affirmation of I'm doing something that means something. Yeah. And that's what I see for my future. I see success in helping people, in putting out these podcast episodes so that somebody else feels less alone. And I feel like a parrot every time I say that. But that's what I want from this. Yeah. And I want it on a larger scale. I want to be recognized for my efforts. Yeah. I don't need to be Mel Robbins. I don't need to be Jay Shetty. I would love to be Gary. I can't think of his last name. Starts with a V. Absolutely love him. He's all over social media. He is like a straight shooter about get your shit together. Nobody else is going to do this for you. So I'm manifesting things. I manifested Carl Radke. I met him at Soft Bar. I manifested this podcast. I'm putting it out into the universe. I want to meet Gary. I think it's Vaynerchuk, honestly. I want to meet him next. We can talk about an embarrassing story here before we wrap up.
Okay.
I literally shat the bed on a recent manifestation.
Yes.
And do you want to?
Well, so I don't know his name, so you can.
It's Chris from the Progressive commercials. Not Dr. Rick Steves, but the other guy who's in all of them.
So Brittany always tells our mother, because she is getting to be, I guess she's senior citizen, even though she doesn't seem old anyways, she always says that our mom is a progressive commercial. She's very talkative. She's very outgoing. She will talk to a perfect stranger. And so Brittany always makes fun of that. And she's like, gosh, Mom, like you're just so a progressive commercial. Well, Brittany's...
So then I found out that the guy from the Progressive commercials is a big Fish fan. So Colin and I traveled. This is a Fish shirt. Just saw him in Savannah, Georgia. That he's a Fish fan. And so I just happened to Instagram him that, hey, I was in section 101 at a Vegas show. He was like best band in the land. I texted Janelle. I was holy crap. He actually commented back on my Instagram post. So we were in Savannah the first night and I sent him a video on Instagram of the show and he hearted it. And the next day, there I am manifesting that I was going to eventually meet him and he was at the show.
Because you saw 2 shows. So that was the first night and then the second night.
There he was. And it was set break. And I manifested meeting him. I did not manifest how to behave once I met him. And I was a complete spaz. Colin didn't believe that it was him. Colin went to the bathroom. He gets off the soundboard stage, comes down, and I'm like, Chris, it's BritJo85 from Instagram. And he's like, how are you? Like, gave me a hug. And I was like, oh my God, I am
me, BritJo.
mortified.
But
I
it's
told
me.
him I was BritJo85 from Instagram like 3 times. And he was like, I know. And he's like, I gotta go. I'm still mortified to this day, but
Probably unfollowed you.
no, he still, I think, follows me. I don't want to, like, whatever. But anyways, okay, so we're at time here. Talking about manifesting things. I'm manifesting this to be something bigger, something
Absolutely.
that is going to help more people. We're going to end this with some rapid fire.
Cool.
Who is more stubborn?
Yeah. I just think you're setting your ways.
You're more forgiving. You're more forgiving
just setting
first.
your
Okay.
ways.
Who's more emotional?
Brittany.
Who's more likely to cry?
Brittany.
Who's a better driver?
Janelle.
100%. She drove here in my car. I hate to drive. Who's the funniest?
Janelle.
I think I'm funnier than you. We're both funny. Who is the favorite child? That's so freaking easy.
Ryan and Mila.
Before them. Janelle's passwords. You know you're a favorite when you're a password. Let's see here. Who says I love you first? I don't know.
I don't know.
we both say I love you pretty regularly.
Yep.
Who takes longer to text back? Now I would say
I
you
was just gonna
because
say
you've
that.
got the kids and I am very much more present and I'm constantly blowing her up like 4 times a day to FaceTime the girls. So sometimes she'll be like, Britt, we're busy.
Sorry, I was bathing my children.
Yeah. Who's more likely to spend money on travel?
You.
Who gets hangry first?
Me.
Who's more competitive?
Janelle.
Who would survive a zombie apocalypse?
I think
Me.
no. I think
have
I would.
guns.
I'll
I shoot
ask for.
trap.
I will ask for your gun, and then I will survive longer.
I think that you have better survival instincts and are less afraid of things than I am, but I would be the one. Okay, and one last question. What is one thing that everybody sees about me, and what is one thing that nobody sees?
Oh.
What is one thing that everybody sees?
Everyone always sees just your happiness. Like old Brittany and new Brittany, like you always had this confidence, this external, but I don't think everyone sees the good emotional side of you. Not the drama negative that used to be Brittany, but like you're strong, you're confident, you're, assertive, you're out there and a go-getter. But you still have that like sentimental, emotional, especially now, taking in every moment, remembering every moment. And I think that that's something that everyone needs to kind of do. And I don't think we do enough, appreciate where we are in the current moment. And I think that you do that a lot. So I don't think people see that enough or just appreciate sitting down and having a conversation. We talk all the time, but we don't like sit down and have like heart to hearts like this, So I think it was really cool. But just to see that emotional side of you in a positive light.
Yep.
And I think that all of this, Highly Relatable, is about that. And if people can take just little snippets from that in a podcast or in a blog, I think it's very beneficial. So
Cool. Anything you want to?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I have been so excited for this episode. It won't be our last. This one was very off the cuff, just a handful of questions to spout out. So,
I don't think we got through enough, but
No.
that's okay.
But I love you very much.
Love you too.
And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for asking me. I can't wait to come back.
I'm Brittany. This is Highly Relatable.
So much to be thankful for. Look, I got a roof.
Thanks for being here. Life is weird, healing is messy, and none of us are doing it perfectly, which is exactly why this space exists. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to follow the show. Share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Check us out on our socials at highlyrelatable.com, Highly Relatable on Facebook, Highly Relatable Travel on Facebook and Instagram, or just reach out to me, Brittany at highlyrelatable.com. See you next time. Stay highly relatable.
I've got so much to be thankful for.